Is the B-Tech Ibby the best way to describe him? He's a little bit bigger build than Ibby, but they're quite similar. They're both Pakistani. So in terms of football, I know B-Tech seems like as an insult, but to be compared to Ibby, I'd take that as a positive. And just to let you know, Jamal, I'm better than you, according to pretty much everyone's rankings. So yeah, enjoy that one. This video is about my top 48 rankings of football on Trent. Regular players. These players have to play regular, had to have some decent amount of game times at some point. So not all of these players play right now, but they have definitely played a number of games in the past. So the reason why I am the best person to do this ranking board is because I have played with every single player. I have the most game time out of everyone, so I've seen players in all situations pretty much, and based on that I have the most knowledge. Obviously there's going to be your bias to this, that. I don't think there is any bias because I've seen everyone, I've seen their levels, and it's not just based on your one performance where you did brilliantly or your one performance where you did badly. The things that factor in is consistency. Obviously having those man of the match performances, is important. The leaderboard, how many wins, losses you have some really good players that always lose, and you got to factor that in. Obviously people's ability, what they can do. Can someone change a game? Can they change a game? How do they adapt when they're losing? Do they step off the mark when they're winning? Are certain players carried by the team so they don't really have to do much? So a lot of stuff goes into these rankings, and the top 48 ranking, it's not really top because the 48 ranking system that I've done takes into account all of these kind of measures. So let's start off and get into it. So number one, Ibby, which won't be a surprise. I think a lot of people will have him as number one. And there's a number of factors to why. Consistency, he's one of the top performers so Ibby plays in defence, and if you know Ibby, you know how good he is. So he's one of the top performers consistency wise every single game, and he is either first or second pick every single game without fail. You might have other players that have more ability, but he'll still get picked first because he's going to give you a solid performance at the back. And not only playing defensively, he can play attacking, he can score a goal, he can get an assist, last minute ditch tackles. He has everything in his game, and the reason he gets number one is that consistency. There's no other player that consistently hits the level of performances like he does from the start of the game to that absolute finish. So yeah, but basically a massive shout out to Ibby to get number one. You could easily, in the top five, you could easily switch the players around depending on their day. But overall, I think Ibby deserves that top spot place. Number two is Mohammed. Mo, as most people call him. If you see the video footage of him, he is a absolute class player. Well-deserved second place. Easily shout for first. He is so hard to tackle, hard to get the ball off him. We have successfully stopped him. Well, sometimes I've been on his team and the other team have stopped him by playing, 4 or 5 man at the back. It's so hard to not stop him without having more than one player on him. He is that good. He scores. There's rarely a game where he doesn't score, and when he does score, it's not just one goal, it's 3, 4, 5, 6. By far one of the best strikers FOT has ever seen, and on his day, unplayable, absolutely unplayable. And consistency wise, he has been up there. There's been some games where he has struggled and whatnot, probably because of the tactics by the other team. Understandable, because they want to win. And everybody knows when you're playing against Mo, it's a long day, especially if you're defending against him. Steve, number 3. So that's the top 3. Ibby, Mo, Steve. And I think with everyone that pretty much makes sense. Steve is number 3. He has the ability to change a game better, for me, from what I've seen, better than anyone else. I don't know anyone else that can change a game like Steve. He has... You don't really like, you know what Mo's got. He's got that dribbling, he's got that finishing, he's got the shooting. You know what Ibby's got. He's got that defending. But Steve has got a bit of everything. He can defend. He's got everything to the game. The mind games, getting into your head during the game. The little dirty tactics. The defending, the midfield play. He can score a goal. He can take on 3 people and score. You don't know, the crazy thing about Steve is you don't know what you're going to get from him that day. It just depends on how he's feeling and what he wants to do. Really difficult player to play against, and again, one of those players you really want on your team. The reason why he's not number 1, number 2 is consistency-wise. He hasn't played as much game time regularly as the other 2. And consistency-wise, he does fall off here and there. So he goes on a good run. Like he has a record of 10 wins in a row. And I mean, that's a feat in itself. But then he'll come back, play a few games, doesn't play too well and disappears. So that's why he gets the 3rd ranking. Number 4, Zayn. Fantastic player. Unfortunately, we don't get to see him as much now as he's moved. But when he has played, and he still plays in the league for us, in terms of a player that non-stop running, non-stop aggression, non-stop trying to win the ball back, he is top class. And then the rest of his game, his passing, his... pushing his team to give more. I remember my first game with Zayn. I didn't know him at the time, and I was playing in the middle, and I wasn't doing too well. And he came and said to me, "Oh, Rad, you're struggling there. Let me play in the middle." And I'm like, "Who the hell is this guy? He doesn't even know me." But he sees the football. He's seeing the football. He's know I'm struggling. Now listen to him. And I was like, you know what, mate? You're absolutely right. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're good or not. He went into that position and played 10 times better than I was that day. And sometimes you need that, the understanding of the game. But yeah, no, cracking player. 11, 7s. Everybody knows his ability. If only he played more with us, we could, we'll definitely see more of him. Boy, well-deserved 4th place. Number 5, Ilya. Unfortunately, a player famed with injuries. I'd say if he didn't have the injuries, which we've never seen him without because he's coming back from an ACL injury, he would be one of the best players. His strength, dribbling, his finishing from nowhere, he can do everything. In a similar fashion, he's quite similar to Steve, but then the injuries have impacted him negatively. But when he does play, first couple of times when he's played, when he's had a good break from playing, he's just so good with the ball, without the ball. He can win you a game. He can score from absolutely anywhere. And yeah, really good find, really good player. Again, hasn't played as much with us, but he definitely deserves that 5th spot. Number 6, Usman. Everybody knows Usman's ability. He's one of the oldest guys here, and that's not a dig. That's to show how good he is. To come number 6, he could easily be, on his day, and he has shown it. Some man of the match performances, the taking the ball away. There'll be 2-3 players on him, just moving the ball around and creating space, passing it to a player who's free, taking 2-3 players out of the game. Just unbelievable when he pulls that off, and he doesn't pull it off like once in a blue moon. He's doing that every game, and as a midfield and defending, it is hard work trying to get the ball off him. And not only that, his finishing, you know, on that 7-a-side pitch, he's very difficult to play against, almost unplayable in that midfield. And all of these guys, Usman, Zayn, Ilyas, Steve, Mo, Ibi, I can't remember a time where they've all played together, but when they are playing, they are always the top picks. I have never seen these guys go below, you know, the top 2 picks. And there's a reason for that. They're so good. Number 7, this is a bit of a shock to a lot of you guys. Number 7, I've put myself. Yeah, no, it is a bit weird to say all of those names and put myself there. Ability-wise, I'm nowhere near them. Nowhere near them. I couldn't lace their boots. But in terms of, I hate this bit, talking about myself. Right, in terms of what I give to the team, in my ability as well, I think I'm one of the most versatile players. I can play in goals. I can pull off a mad save. I can play in defence. I can play CDM. I can play cam. I can play strike. Strike is my natural position. I can score a goal. I can rally the team to win a game. I've come from behind a number of the time. I feel like I'm more of a leader on the pitch. I feel like number 7 is a perfect spot for me. I can't see myself going any higher unless one of these guys have just bad performances all round. But what I give to a team, you know, in terms of putting in a shift, you won't see anyone putting in a better shift than me. If you put me in defence and you're saying Steve's attacking or Mo's attacking, I will give you my life to stop these guys. And I will. And I'll tell you right now, playing with Steve the other day, when I was in defence, this guy couldn't get past me. I mean, I didn't tackle him or anything, but he went backwards or he was passing side to side. He wasn't getting past me. As soon as I went out of defence, he was walking through these guys like no joke. So yeah, no, I think my performances as well, like from the 11s, from the 7s, I've scored important goals. I've saved the defence. Sometimes I've had cameos in different positions. To an extent, I think I am consistent. Everybody knows what they're going to get from me. I will sacrifice myself. I'm not too, I have to play strike or I have to play midfield. I have to play defence. I don't mind where I play. Whatever the captain says to listen to, they put me in goals first. I don't care. So in terms of that, I'm a resilient player. Everybody knows what they're going to get from me, and I think I more than deserve the number 7 position. Right, let's continue. So we are on to 8th place, Shuaib. Not everyone's seen him play, but he has played 2 times with us. He played once with us in the summer, and he played over a long period, and he was very good then. Just not many people rated him back then, probably because we had so many different players during the summer last year. And then he disappeared up until he's come back this summer, and he's been outstanding this summer. You know, he's not played that many games again, but really, really good considering he doesn't play with us that often. Aggression, winning the ball, finishing. If you saw some of his shots in the league, does everything on the pitch. You can expect a lot from him, and this is not, I would say this is not even his peak. He's just coming back to football really after taking a bit of a break. So if he loses a bit of weight, you know, keeps playing, he'll get to a very, very good standard. Definitely break into that top 5 if he continues his performance levels. Then the reason why he deserves the spot there is because technically what he's doing on the pitch is brilliant. And then we go to 9th, Connor. Again, a player who plays with us non-stop, then disappears for a good 2 months, then non-stop, then disappears for a good 2 months. Very good player. He plays a lot of football himself. Very much a team player. Passing, non-stop, you know, making the runs down the channels. and he has similar fashion to Shuib and the other, similar to Zayn. He's all over the pitch, a good player. You want him on your team. Very strong on the ball, very hard to get the ball off, and that's why he deserves a top 10 placed finish at number 9. And then at number 10 we've got Josh. Again, very, very good player. Defensively, one of the best defenders. And he can dribble with the ball. And he gets into the top 10 purely on his ability and what he's shown in the games. He could have gone higher. And the reason he hasn't is because of the number of losses. I know it's not all down to him. And I think there's some parts of his games, some part of his game he can improve, such as when he goes on those brilliant runs looking for that last final pass. There's just few things like that. If he was to bring that more into his game, that'll elevate him up in those rankings. Unfortunately, we won't see Josh again. While he might come down, but he's moved back to London. He has graduated. Congratulations to him. So unfortunately, we've lost a great player in him. 11, we've got Spooner. Spooner's played with us over the last 2-3 years, and he's at varying levels of form. But in terms of overall, he's a very good player. Again, everybody wants him in his team. He's gone more defensive now, but before he was more in the middle, dribbling with the ball, gets past everyone. Finishing product wasn't there as much, but really good player to have on your team. Can change a game, and he puts a shift in anywhere. Very versatile. In terms of his peak, he was, unstoppable, and he's getting back to that now, and that's why he's 11. Number 12, Amrit. What a player he has become from where he was, at the start. It's hard to remember, to be fair, because there's so many players, but from where he was, he played very individual when he first started. Didn't really pass the ball that much, tried to skill on everyone. There wasn't too much to his game then. You didn't know what kind of player he was, but the way he's growing, I'd say, over the last 6 to 9 months, as a leader on the pitch, he's been captain a number of times, driving his team forward, collecting the ball in the middle, taking it up, taking on a number of players, scoring goals. He's adapted the game and improved this game compared to anyone else. I'd say that improvement, that trajectory is on another level, especially in the position he plays. Initially, I personally didn't think he was like anything amazing, but he's a game changer now, cracking player, and that's why he comes in 12. Number 13, this is a bit of a controversial one, V2. I've seen him play a lot. Quite a few of the other guys I have. And when he has played, he is indestructible in terms of, he's not the biggest guy, but he just does not stop. He will go and go and go to the levels where he got, kicked in the face and got his eye cut. He continued playing on. But this guy is really good. I think when he first played, maybe he showed us a little too little respect and tried to take on everyone, especially with the likes of AB, Josh and these guys defending. And then he started giving everyone a little bit more respect. So I think at first he lost the ball quite a bit, but then he adapted his game, improved and getting through players. And then I know a lot of people remember, but towards the end he started bringing in more elements into his game, and if he continued, he would definitely be in that top 10. So that's V2 at 13. 14, another controversial one. We've got Hugo. Let me just check this is recording. Yes. So we've got Hugo, and the reason why this one's controversial is a lot of people think, and rightly so, he should be in that top 10, top 5 even. And the reason why I put him down all in 14 is because if it was on ability and purely ability, he'd be in the top 5. I mean, you can see his talent, what he's got in his game. Well, in terms of playing sevens with us, I think he's had some really good games here and there, but overall, his performances have not been on that spectacular level. You know, I'd say 1 or 2 games he's had really good games, scored a lot of goals, but other than that, once a team finds him out, I think he runs out of ideas. And that, again, he hasn't played as many games, so that might be like a game time, playing more often with us. He'd be able to find his kind of finesse within the game. But at the moment, I've not seen enough, especially with the top 10 and the players above him, where he can go above them. Ability wise, again, you know, top 5, top 10, but this factors in everything. And yeah, the only way to change it is to just show a bit more of it, play more game, have more game time, and I'm 100% sure he'll be there pretty much every game next year when he's back. Then at 15, in a similar fashion, controversial one to Hugo's, which is Cam. Again, ability-wise, you know, top 5, top 10, easy. You know, if it was ability-wise, this list would have been quite quick and easy to do. The reason why Cam's at 15 and not any higher is, again, finishing brilliant. You know, he can hit a shot. I've been a goal in one of his shots. I'm thinking, I'm going to say this, I've blinked 1 second and it's gone past me. And bringing plays into the game, the 1-2 passes, fantastic. But I think it's just we've seen instances of giving up, the player's not doing enough on his team, but then there's a bit of the Ronaldo whining, and, you know, which is understandable, your team's not doing enough, but then you kind of have to step up in that kind of situation. So within the sevens and stuff, we want to see more of that. Not every, I mean, it doesn't have to do that, but the giving up aspect and just giving a little bit more, adapting your game a bit more in terms of a sevens game to win a game. There has to be more. To move up the table, you have to give more of an overall performance, I think. And there's been, you know, Cam's had lots of man of the match performances. But yeah, no, I think there's a little bit more to do for him to move into the high ranks. Billy, 16. Very good player. I think in terms of potential, he has the most to go at. I never seen him play before he had his big injury, but I can definitely see glimpses of it. He shows it in the game. He's very strong on the ball, can give off a pass, can shoot. A very much a team player. But what's lacking is that extra finesse, that extra, just giving it that little bit more, you know, and that comes with stamina, fitness, the drive, the determination, that, you know, the injury, the feeling of that being there, affecting your game. If he can push past that, he can move up easily. But then again, if he lets it get away from him and lets it get to him, he can move down very easily. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword. But again, very good player. Good to have him on your team. And very much a team player. Then you have Jamal, 17. Again, a very good player. I mean, I think Jamal's more rounded in his kind of like, he's kind of at his peak in my opinion. He could get slightly better, but I don't think like amazingly better. We know what Jamal's capable of. Very acrobatic, can literally score from any type of ball that comes to him. Whether it's up in the air, awkward bounce, comes off the defender. He can shoot from anywhere. I don't think anyone has that ability as well as him. And then in midfield, he can pull off a pass on his day. And sometimes he can run. So yeah, no, same with Billy. I'd say they're similar in a little sense in terms of stamina and speed and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, Jamal, well deserved 17th place. And just to let you know, Jamal, I'm better than you, according to pretty much everyone's rankings. So yeah, enjoy that one. Saad at 18th. So Saad is the brother of Adam. A great introduction to our football. Another defender, a very much needed one. Huge, big guy. Very hard to get past. He's got long legs. Steve always has a problem. Not a problem. Struggles to have a good day against Saad. But yeah, no, really good player. Consistent when he's playing consistently, and taking rest as well at the same time, by playing regularly, not overly playing too much. Very good player, and on his day, you can't really get past him. And he's been captain a number of times, and I think he's barely lost. So yeah, no, he could potentially move slightly up the rankings, but then again, depending on his performance, he could move slightly down. But because of the stack list, I can't see him moving much more than his position. I think that position is a very good position for him. In 19th, you've got Mulengu. Technically a very good player. He's got all the ability in him. And he'll be probably disappointed with this kind of rating. But 19th, I think, is a solid place for him from all of his performances. They've been, decent. He's had some good performances, but there's like that level, that consistency, that I think if he could move up, but he just needs that consistency, consistent good game time, delivering for his team, pulling off that, better pass, pulling off a better shot. But from where he started, from when I first saw him, he wouldn't pass to anyone. Dribble past everyone and all that kind of stuff. So in terms of that respect, his improvement's been brilliant. But I still think, and I don't know whether he thinks, he could definitely adapt his game a lot more, and improve the basics. And then for now, I'll leave it at this one. 20th, you've got Hasim. Plays here and there. Has played a good amount of time with us, but plays here and there. Very good defender. Left-footed. I would say he is the B-Tech Ibi, the best way to describe him. He's a little bit bigger build than Ibi, but they're quite similar. They're both Pakistani. So I in terms of football, I know B-Tech seems like as an insult, but to be compared to Ibi, I'd take that as a positive. He's very good at defending. He can go up with the ball. He can shoot. If he works on that and consistently plays, because he doesn't, if he works on that, he could become a very much polished version of Ibi. Considering Ibi's age and considering Hasim's a lot younger, he could definitely become almost as good or a better version if he kept going, and worked on that aspect.